Every weekday morning, I make this left turn onto this road and spend the next 20-something odd minutes driving through the single largest collection of red lights in human existence. Then I arrive at work, and look, my job can be tedious sometimes, it's often draining, and there are many days in which the best part of my workday is when I get back in my car, climb the hill outside of the school, make a right turn, and head back down that road. There's this brief moment at the top of the hill as I turn to the right that I can see the outlines, the silhouettes of the buildings that rest at the end of the road, the buildings that stand next to my neighborhood. Those outlines signify that the sun is out and I'm on my way home. Home. That left turn in the morning is hard because I'm leaving home. Not just leaving my house or where I lay my head at night or a city whose zip code is inscribed on my address. I'm saying goodbye to my wife and my dogs and a city that's imprinted on my soul, and I'm leaving home. I love the concept of home. I've examined that concept in my life for many years, and what I've learned is every time I make that left turn, I'm leaving a piece of my heart behind me. The greatest gift that we can give anybody is our time. How we choose to spend our time is a constant negotiation between all of the areas of our lives. We make sacrifices when necessary. We draw lines in the sand inside of an hourglass. I'm not a teacher, not really, and the bulk of my job at the school that is foolish enough to employ me consists of making sure that technology cooperates enough that the real teachers can do their jobs. Honestly, I like that. I get joy out of equipping others for success. Then on the more fun days, I get to live stream sports or other events and tell the story of what is going on at the school, and it's the most fun that I've ever had in a work environment. But even the things that I love are negotiations with time. They often require more work after hours, more sacrifices to be made, and more time away from home. Even in the midst of basketball season, which is essentially a sacred time of year for me, I found myself both having a blast, but also completely exhausted. And while the days have been long, the year itself has been even longer, as I've experienced some of the worst things that you can experience in this type of work. A former student of mine was killed by a drunk driver. A current student passed away from a lifelong medical condition. Unexpected personal challenges hit. And it's minor in the grand scheme of things, but I've had zero creative drive essentially all year long, finding it nearly impossible to write or make videos or do so many of the things that I typically love to do. I started working at this school right before COVID hit. Making a career change is always tricky. Stepping into a job in which I had no work experience was bizarre, to say the least. And then going remote halfway through the year really topped off all the weirdness. In the years that have followed, I've seen many coworkers that I love and get along with step away. Responsibilities of mine have changed. Basically, a lot has happened in the short time that I've been here, and that much change in that small amount of time can be overwhelming. Honestly, it's easy for me to come to work and feel very lonely. I've fallen into that line of thinking, that trap, many times over the past few years. The gloriously strange paradox of working in an educational setting is being asked to invest in the growth, the development, the future of somebody that you will really only know for a few years, then they will graduate and they will leave. But believe me when I say it's worth it. This lonely year, more than other recent years, has served as a callback to reality for me, to being at peace with my own restlessness, and reminded me how very much not alone I really am. There were many days that I would walk the campus to clear my head of workplace logistics or nagging work problems that my brain could not stop focusing on, and when I was walking and I told myself I was having a hard time fitting in there, I would be greeted and welcomed by the students that I am supposed to teach. Look, I'm a cynic. I've always struggled with my own negativity, and it was a wave of refreshing humility when I realized that the reality check that I often needed to remind myself of why I was doing this was actually coming from the youth that I was supposed to be offering guidance to or helping in some sort of way. In education, we don't always get to see the long-term effects of the investments that we make, but every so often you do get a glimpse. And it helps to remind you of why you do any of this. The graduating class of 2023 in particular were always good at reminding me of who I am, reminding me of why I make the sacrifices to be here, and I'm going to especially miss that group as they go off to make their own paths. It's a risky thing investing in the next generation. We were that age once. We did the same dumb things. We said the same completely stupid statements. And if you work in these environments long enough, if you work with youth or students long enough, you can kind of lose sight of why it is that you do it, why it is that it's worth it. I was guilty of losing sight the past few years, but I'm thankful that this long, weird, difficult year actually served to set my vision right. You see, we get through all of this, through youth, through adulthood, through whatever stage of life we're in, together. And that's the beauty of the human existence, isn't it? We get to experience true joy, and we get to navigate pain, but we get to do it all together. None of this that I'm talking about now is a lesson about working with youth or students or anything that is specific to my life. It's a lesson that rings true to all of us as we all search for that most profound of human needs: community. I am indebted to the lessons I picked up from my community during this strange, wonderful, long, and difficult year. We all, staff and student and family alike, navigate the shifting sands of the hourglass together, finding our footing on the foundation that teaches us that we are nothing without the people in our lives. So at the end of the day, I make that right turn and I see the outlines of the buildings way down at the end of the road, and the sun is out and I'm on my way home. And yeah, it's still very often the best part of my day. But thanks to this long, weird, difficult year, and thanks to those living reminders of who I am and why I'm here, I've learned that when I make that right turn, I'm also leaving pieces of my heart there and with each and every one of them.
What I know now, I didn't then. I know you wish I could forget. We're drawing lines in the sand.
Hello, puppies.
Inside an hourglass.